So we are in the last chapter, perfection of renunciation, where Krishna is concluding the whole science, right? So before that, let us pay obeisance to Sri Radha Govinda. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Nananjana Shalakaya Chakshumetam Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Abhishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnamscha Shri Rupam Sagarachatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vittam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakana Vittam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dino Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpaturabhyascha Kripa Sindhuveva cha Patitam Nam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Te Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pratine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschadesha Tarine Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So let us start. So where were we? The last Hare Krishna. So Krishna was concluding, and again he has added more to, started from Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, then now Bhakti Yoga, right? So he was concluding all the three yogas now in the last chapter. And he said we have to do sacrifice, we have to do charity, and we have to do austerity because it is required. It will purify us. But what we have to do is we have to give up all the results for the Lord. So that's what he said. So then he said how the different modes of nature affects us. And he said there are 5 factors, actions directed in any action. There are 5 factors which make the thing. Like even you might initiate with a desire, but there'll be some motivation, then there'll be object. The place you require, you need some doers, you need facilities to get it done, and you need to the effort. Like, you might know how to do the, say, prepare a sweet, gulab jam, but you need the knowledge and you also need to know how many you have to make. That is the objective. Then you also, you need the ingredients to make it and facilities, and also you need the you have to actually do it also. You need the endeavor, and then finally you need the sanction of the Lord. So 5 factors which Krishna talked about, the Sankhya, conclusion of Sankhya and freedom. Then how we get entangled by the 3 modes. Some more insight he gave us to know about the knowledge, action, workers, and determination, happiness, and so many things he talked about. So then we came to the prescribed duties. So we talked about the varnas. So let us again have a recap. All work is controlled by the modes, yet one can become free from the reactions of work by acting as Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra in Nishkama Karma Yoga. That's what it means. That is, you can be in any of the varna because your nature could be different. Your nature is what you got from the previous births. Okay, you would have carried that nature, that mentality, right? You have that nature with you. Somebody would have the Brahmana is mostly in the Sattva Guna. Kshatriya is mostly in the Rajas Guna, but you'll have even little bit of Sattva Guna also. Then Vaishyas will have primarily Rajas Guna, but he'll also have little bit of Tamas Guna. Sudras is mostly tamas and little bit of rajas. So we have little bit. So we can know ourselves about our nature depending on whether what type of gunas we have, right? So according to our gunas, we need to take the thing. So doesn't mean that because you're a Brahmana, then you will be straight away going to the spiritual Lord. No. Whatever, Krishna doesn't say that. He says you can be in any of the varnas, you can have any of the goodness. All you have to do is spiritual activities. You could be in any of the ashram. You could be a Shudra, you could be a Kshatriya, you could be a Brahmana, Vaishya. But if you do devotional service, you do spiritual activities, then only you can go back to him. So one should not think that because we are in Shudras, then that nature, that if you are in mode of ignorance, then you can't climb up. No, that's not done. That's very clearly says. So we saw all the peacefulness. I think he gave the qualities, and doesn't mean that we have to cultivate these qualities. But all we need to know is we have to take up that type of occupation depending on our gunas, right? Then by following his qualities of work, every man can become perfect. Please hear me from me how this can be done. So he doesn't say which varna you should be, which ashrama you should take to become perfect. He says no. You could be in any of that. He doesn't put any rubber stamp saying only Brahmanas will reach or get liberation and not the Shudras. No, that's not clear. So here very clearly says by following his qualities of work, every man can become perfect. Okay. What do we have to do? By worshipping of the Lord, who is the source of all beings, who is all pervading, perform his own duty. That's all you have to do. You have to do your work as per your nature. Don't bother whether you're in this thing. Don't copy anybody. Just do as per your nature. Somebody will have that rajas nature, no? That you'll be like to do running around this and then you do some activity in that, which will require all that type of thing. Or some will have sattva guna, I mean, who can sit and read and thing, you cultivate. So you work like that. So whatever the work you choose as per your guna, and worship the Lord because he's the source of all things and he's all pervading. So if you do like that, then you'll attain perfection. Not that if you be in as a Brahmana or if you as a thing that you become. No. You could be in any of the Varna, any of the ashramas, okay? Any of the modes. Only thing is only this, the devotional service can free you from modes of goodness. You get free from the modes of nature. It is better to engage in one's own occupation, even though one may perform it imperfectly. But you might do another's operation perfectly, but it is not your nature because you'll be affected by sinful reactions. So here Krishna is very clear. We have to do our own occupation as per our nature, not somebody else's. Because no one is perfect. Even Brahmana is not perfect. Even his work, there will be always some fault. Okay, because just like when you kindle a fire, there will always be smoke. You cannot have a fire be free from smoke, right? There will be some amount of smoke. But more or it be less, but there will be some amount of smoke when you ignite. Therefore, persons will have, there will always be some fault in our work. All you have to do is just continue do a work as per your nature, offer the results to the Lord, and the work should be dedicated to the Lord. That's all, and do it as per your nature. So that's all. So that's how we have to. And also, any work, no, one more thing he continues to be saying, it could have more of some part will be good, some part will be impure, faulty, right? Everyone will have like that. So, but when you start offering the results to the Lord, doesn't mean that he will say, since you have given me faulty work results, I might not take it. No, Krishna will accept everything and he will start slowly, he will purify your faulty part by giving you spiritual. So if you do your work with spiritual activities, which are devotional service, if it's there along with your work, slowly that faulty part will start reducing. And you'll be able to do it in a much better way because you are getting more knowledge. Because Krishna will see that you are serious and he will appreciate and slowly he purifies your faulty part. So this is how the whole science works. So that it's very clear, doesn't mean that you have to be in this ashrama or in that ashrama, right? So one practicing Nishkama Karma Yoga, detached work, that means you don't attach, this is the work I like to do. No, you work because it's your nature and it's your prescribed duty, it's your responsibility, and do it for the Lord. And then knowledge that is not his body. Finally attains the, finally, how do you come? What is the perfection stage? Now in these following verses, Krishna is going to explain how person who attains the Brahman position, how will he be? So by serving Krishna on this platform with devotion, one reaches the kingdom of God. So what happens once who practices like that? What is the end result? One who can so we are coming from Karma Yoga, then slowly we'll add some knowledge to Jnana Yoga, then coming to Bhakti Yoga, right? So one who is self-controlled and completely unattached can engage in Jnana Yoga, practicing renunciation. Then he can attain the highest perfection stage of freedom from reaction. So this is how they will gradually rise in their consciousness. So who can engage in Jnana Yoga? Krishna gives. From Brahman form, you go to supreme perfectional stage, then stage of highest knowledge. So in these verses, he's going to tell us how to do it, right? How to achieve supreme perfection? By controlling the mind with determination, slowly purified by intelligence, giving up sense objects, freedom from attachment and hatred. Live in a secluded place. You have some austerity, like eats little, controls his body, mind, and speech. Freedom from all bad qualities born of material conception. That is false ego, false pride, lust, anger. Always in transcendence. A person who is not disturbed by the intense flow of desires that enter in the rivers which is ever being. So it's always still. So this is what we saw, no? Analogy for peace, right? Now Krishna says, one who is thus transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Na Shokshati Na Kankshati Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhaktim Labhate Param. One is thus transcendently situated, at once realizes the Supreme Brahman. He never laments nor desires to have anything. Na Shokshati Na Kankshati. Is equally disposed to every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. So what is the end result of doing Nishkama Karma Yoga? You are not only giving up the results, you are also doing the work. You are not getting attached to the work. Then slowly you reach the Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. There you won't lament nor desire to, because you are doing everything for them. That is the perfectional stage. So this, I mean, see, it doesn't mean that because we can't reach, we should not do it. But we should also know what it will be when you reach the destination, right? You should also know that, how to do it and what it be like. So one is transcendental, he is fully joyful. He never laments. Also, you can also look at how a pure devotee would be. You know, he'll always be joyful. He'll never lament nor decide to have anything. He'll be equally disposed to every living entity. Mad Bhakta Labhate Param. Then one attains pure devotional service unto me. So this is how, at least we can recognize how a pure devotee would be. Bhaktya mam abhijnanti yavantas chashmi tattvataha tato mam tattvatu nantva vishate tada. One can understand Supreme Personality only by devotional service. So that is the reason why we need to do devotional service in whatever we ashrama, whatever prescribed duty we have. Just add the spiritual services with us along with the work we do. Then with full consciousness, supplied by such devotion, we can enter into the kingdom of God. So this is the ultimate destination. So what is the eligibility to understand truth? By not by mental speculation or by non-devotees or by scholarship or university degree. Only way to know God, Krishna, is by pure devotional service under the guidance of a pure devotee. Without devotional service, absolute truth is always hidden. That is very, very clear. So we should keep hearing about the Lord by Slowly you can reach the stage by hearing. Hearing, Tachshunu Krishna keeps saying, hearing is the best process. What is the effect of hearing? Slowly Brahma Bhuta stage develops. Material contamination. Slowly you will start detaching from the material desires. Then you can understand the Supreme Lord much better. So one who is the, what is L2 enter born? When he is fully conversant with the signs of Krishna. So this is the discussion in the Prabhupada has written. So working with pure consciousness, what happens? One on the platform of devotion should work under the order of Lord, fully depending on him and being fully conscious of him. One thus will be free from the control of the modes of material nature. So that is the perfectionist stage. Those engaged in all kinds of activities, my devotee under my protection reaches the eternal protection. So what happens once he engages in the work for the Lord, we naturally come under the protection of the Lord. He takes the devotees under his shelter. And then what happens? Then you can reach the eternal impersonal abode of my grace. So he says they come under my protection. So he says we'll be under his thing. So that's what happens. When the devotee is there, he'll always be under the protection of the Lord. I personally protect my devotee from all reactions and lead him directly to my Supreme. So this is what happens for a pure devotee, because he will actually handled by the Lord. Though engaged in all kinds of activities, my devotee is always under my protection. He reaches the eternal world by my grace. So there's no time limitation for pure devotee. Always 24 hours is engaged in the service of the Lord. Is the nature of the abode is unchangeable, eternal. So significance of Madhva Parayana is he is under the protection of the Lord. How does it come? Because he acts under the direction of the Lord or his representative. So they take shelter of the spiritual master. That's how Prabhupada took the shelter of his spiritual master, and he took his order as the vacuum, and he just worked for it. So once they take the shelter of the spiritual master, then when they're all the time conscious, then Krishna is very pleased, and he will be, and you will come under his protection. So he will the one who will be guiding you, and he will be the one who will be taking you forward. So it says, pure devotee acts under the direction of Supreme Lord or his representative. So devotee's mood will be like dependence. In all activities, he thinks it's not me, it's the Lord who is doing it. And he'll work under my protection. In such using, he'll be fully conscious of me. Even if he's happy or whatever it comes, he thinks it is by the grace of the Lord. So he is all the time in depending on the Krishna's thing. So if you become conscious of me, you will pass over all obstacles of conditioned life. So this is what happens when you worship the Lord and do the work and offer the results, and then this is the benefits. And if you do not work in such consciousness but act through false ego, then you will be lost. So that's what he says. That is the dangers of not doing. So what is the benefit of doing? All the obstacles of conditional life, you will be removing it. Otherwise, you will be caught in the material world. Okay? Or not hearing from me, you will be lost. So this is the dangers of not being conscious of the Lord. So discussion is, Krishna conscious people will be free from all anxieties. Why? Because they know they are doing everything for the Lord. And Krishna becomes his friend and looks after his comfort. If Krishna is liberated, Krishna conscious is liberated and free to act, because everything is prompted by the Lord from within and confirmed by spiritual master. Otherwise, conditioned soul is always under strict anxiety. So this is what happens. You will be bound or lost in the material world if you are not doing as per the thing. If you take Krishna conscious, if you take the shelter of the spiritual master, you will have the mercy of the Lord. Okay. And so Arjuna is thinking, so what has happened? That means when he said, no, don't change, do as per your guna and all that. So then he was asking, then he'll be thinking, okay, I'm a Kshatriya, so I don't have to leave the work of a Kshatriya. I still have to do the work as a Kshatriya. But that's what Krishna said. Yes, you do that, but you do it by worshipping me. That means you do the thing when conscious of me. So Arjuna is Kshatriya and his duty is to fight for Dharma. Even if he avoids to fight, the modes will force him to fight because his nature is that, to fight. So whether then he'll be fighting as per his false ego, like, under that. But if it worships, if he takes the duty as saying, I'm doing it for the Lord, then he is working with the knowledge of the Lord, with conscience of the Lord. So then no separation. But the work is the same. The work doesn't change. So if you do not act according to my direction and not fight, then you'll be falsely directed by your nature. You'll have to be engaged in warfare. So you will have sinful reactions. And what is the sample he says here? By acting, Arjuna as a Kshatriya has a natural duty to fight. Why refusal to fight was under false ego? Because he was fearing that by killing his relatives, he would incur sinful reactions, right? So what is the forgetfulness? He forgot the relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and considered himself as the master of activities. That's why he was under that mentality. So now he's telling you are not doing it, you are doing it according to my direction. So if you know that, this is what the Lord wants, this is the plan of the Lord, and you're doing it for the Lord, even if it is fine, because that's his nature, then what's the conclusion? You unexistently execute the order of Supreme Personality, then he'll keep safe from under all circumstances. That means you come under his protection. He says, I'm under him. So Arjuna, under Krishna or relation, if you do not follow my orders, then what else? You will be compelled to follow the. See, if you do not follow the Krishna, then what happens? You are under the influence of Maya, under the influence of the modes of nature. So that means what? Then you will be caught into this world. Anyone who voluntarily engages himself under the direction of Supreme Lord becomes glorious. If he refuses to act, he gets compelled to act by the modes. So the choice is to choose Krishna or to choose Maya. So that's what the dangers. He says here very clearly what happens to Krishna if you are not in Krishna consciousness. You are acting as per your by the Maya. Under that you'll be forced. So then this is what we saw, right? Karma Yoga Sarkam. Then more now in these verses is giving more confidential knowledge and how to surrender to the Supreme. Then the knowledge that one is spirit, soul is knowledgeable. One wants to. So now this is always concluding the Bhakti Yoga. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Videsha Arjuna Sistati Brahmayam Sarva Bhutani Yatradani Mayaya. Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the orderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. So we are in this body, which is made of material energy, right? So, and he is within us and he's trying to direct us. But if you don't listen to him, if you're listening to the outside, this Maya, then what happens? Then it's our fault. He says he's there within us and he's trying to drive us, but all we have to do is listen to it. And we are on the machine. That means we are on the material body is we are in that. So we naturally will be under its control. But if you take the shelter of him, then he will direct us if you listen to him. That's the thing. Tam eva sharanam gacha sarva bhavena bharata tat prasadat param stanam prapashya. O Saint Bharata, surrender unto him utterly. By his grace, you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme and the eternal. So all we have to do is surrender unto him entirely. Then Arjuna will be thinking, if I surrender unto him, then there's so many other dharma, no? Kati dharma, Kshatriya dharma, so many other dharma. For that, Krishna continues to say, thus I have explained to you the most confidential of all knowledge. Deliberate on this fully and then do what you wish to. So he says, I have given you the whole knowledge, the confidential of all knowledge. He says to surrender to him, right? Now you think about it, deliberate it, and then. So that way, Krishna is not attaching to his teachings. It's like a renunciation. He says, I've done my duty. I've explained the whole essence. I've given all your clarifications and your things. and my instructions are there. Now it's up to you whether you want to, and whichever path you want to take, the right path or the left path or whichever path you want to do, you wish to. So finally, Krishna is giving him a chance. So he's not forcing Arjuna to do it. So he's giving the Arjuna, now it should be done voluntarily. Same way we should, the way we have to accept this teachings is up to us. How we accept Bhagavad Gita, instructions given in Bhagavad Gita. So the most confidential knowledge of all is to become a pure devotee of Krishna. So what is the most confidential knowledge? First he said confidential knowledge is of Brahma. We knew, no? We will the Supreme Mystery. Guhyatara is more confidential knowledge of Super Soul. We came to know. Guhyataram is just surrender unto the Supreme Personality of God. So one we learned we are the soul and not the body. Then we learned about the Super Soul. Now he's saying so just surrender unto him. That is the Guhyataram. Right? How do you surrender to him? Always think of me. Become my devotee, worship me and offer a homage. Thus you will come to me without fail. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyajimam namaskaro mam evaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosami. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. So all you have to do is 4 things. Think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer your obeisance. You will come to me without fail. So doing your prescribed duty, doing that, you have to do it with this consciousness. Think of me, become my duty, worship me, offer it. Then what happens to the other variety of the dharma you have? Sarva dharma pariyatya maam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshasmi. Abandon all varieties of religion. Just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful action. Do not fear. So finally, he's giving his verdict. This is his verdict. He says, okay, don't bother about anything. Whatever the instructions are, just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. So we don't have to know what our previous karma was or what is our backlog, what is our thing. I mean, we don't have to know because all we have to do is worship him, think of him, do the thing, and just surrender unto him. Then what happens? We are free from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. So he says, do not fear, I will do it. So that's all we have to do. So some people will know, we don't know, I've come up to this at a very late stage, trying to understand this science. He says, it doesn't matter at what stage you are in, at what dharma you are in, or what ashrama you are in, whether you are in the mode of ignorance, goodness, whatever it is. And whatever religion you have, whatever dharma you're following, you just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. So this is the final verdict. So what is the summary? Knowledge of Brahma, we saw the Brahma Buddha stage, that is by Nishkama Karma, giving up the results to him, we slowly rise to the thing. The knowledge of Paramatma is this thing. And most confidential is devotional service to Bhagavan, Sri Krishna. So now comes to finally, he's telling, we have studied the whole science and finally gave his verdict and the most confidential knowledge, saying to surrender to me. And then now he's telling about what is the benefits of, we have studied, now we have been studying this Bhagavad Gita for so many months, right? What is it about? I'm preaching and studying the Bhagavad Gita. So now he's going to give us the benefits. This confidential knowledge, idam te nada may not be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, not to one who is engaged. So if they are not austere, if they are just not restricting himself or to whatever the restriction the spiritual master has given or the discipline, or is not devotee, or is just atheist, and he doesn't engage in devotional service, not to one who is envious of me. So this knowledge should not be explained to us. So he is telling, Krishna is saying, please don't do that. But will the devotees do that? Why different people envy Krishna? Because he is the supreme and nothing is above or equal to him. And who should not try to comment on things? Anyways, people, faithless people, without understanding Krishna from authority of a pure devotee. So this is very clear. That's what Prabhupada writes in the purport. But one more thing, but pure devotees, what happens? They know Krishna wants everyone to come. So they won't discriminate. Whether he is envious or his thing, they will try to bring everyone to the devotional path, to the Krishna consciousness path. For one who explains the supreme secret to the devotees, devotional service is guaranteed. At the end, he will come back to me. So here Krishna says, if you explain this science to the devotees, okay, so what is the benefit of explaining? Or if you try to share it with others, whether they like it or not, or whether they accept it or not, doesn't matter. You do your duty of explaining it. Say, this is what I've understood, this is what I've benefited, and you just did. Then Krishna is there. He says devotional service is guaranteed. At the end, he will come back to me. So he is there to help us to be in this path. Ya idam paramam guhyam mad bhaktis avidyashyati bhaktim mai param kritva mam eveshyati asamsha. So yeah, that's what Prabhupada did. He said there were many followers who might have come out of the Krishna conscious thing. They might be still, but he just did it because he wanted everyone. So he just preached. He just established society. So he didn't think that I should get 10,000 people followers or this is my limit or no. He just did it and people followed. And those people who became his followers, he asked them to preach. And they went and distributed. Some went and distributed books. Some started translating to other languages. Then they went out. I think they helped to preach this Krishna consciousness. So that's how they helped the movement. There might be some who might have dropped out, fine. But there were many who went out and just did whatever the Lord, the crystal master said. So this is what, because Krishna is telling us, because devotional service, the more and more you try to explain this secret, what happens? The devotional service is guaranteed. And in the end, he will come back to me. And why he will come back? He said, there is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. So such persons becomes very dear to the Lord. Then he will be helping him and through it, and slowly you will, devotional service is guaranteed and you'll come back. So this is what happens when you start preaching and you start spreading this, because Krishna, such persons are dear to Krishna. And I declare that he who studies this sacred conversation worships me by his intelligence. That means, if you study, that means you become a Jnana Yoga, right? Studying this conversation. If you study this conversation and deliberate on it and introspect on it, he says, I will declare this worships by his intelligence. Okay? And one who listens with faith and without envy becomes free from sinful reactions and attains to the pious with the pious state. So this is the benefit. When you listen with faith, faithfully you listen and just accept whatever he is telling and just do it, then what happens? Our sinful reaction. So just listen. That means hearing has got a very powerful thing. If you listen with faith, without envy, you become free from sinful reactions and attain to the planets with a pious state. So this is the benefits. One, you worship him with jnana thing like this, or people who are preaching it, who are spreading this Krishna consciousness are dear to him, because he says they are very dear to him and he'll help them to grow in the spiritual path. So now finally Arjuna is firmly fixed. So what does he say? Arjuna Vacha, Nashto Moho Smriti Labda, Tvat Prasadan Mayachuta, Stito Asmi Gata Sandeha, Karishye Vachanam Tava. Karishye Vachanam. Now, I am prepared to act according to your instructions. Why? My illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your thing. Now he remembers his relation with Mercy. I am now firm and free from doubt. I am prepared to act according to your instructions. Karishye Vachanam Tava. So finally, Arjuna declares, saying, now everything is gone. I have regained my memory and free from things. So realization is Prashad. My illusion now is gone. Regain my thing. I am now firm, prepared to act according to you. Now, till now, so what happens? The instructions by Krishna, what fixed up when before? By 66, that verses, right? Then he gave the benefits. Okay. And now, then we heard the Arjuna's prediction. Now, even Sanjay is also listening. So now Sanjay is concluding. Now he is giving his predictions. What he felt, what he, by hearing this, what happened to him? What is his predictions? He says, Sanjay said, thus have I heard the conversation of two great souls. Who are the true princes? Krishna and Arjuna. Wonderful is that message that my heir is standing on it. So he's so wonderful it is that my heir is done. By mercy of, and he's thanking his spiritual master. He says, by mercy of Vyasa, I heard this most Confucian talks directly from the mysticism Krishna, and we were speaking personally to Arjuna. So it was a personal discussion. And because of his mercy of spiritual master, he was able to hear this. So this was a great, wonderful. So he's telling the Strashta, it is so wonderful, I'm happy. Okay, as I repeatedly recall the wondrous and holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna with pleasure, being thrilled at every moment. So this is his reaction. Okay. O King, when I remember the wonderful form of Lord Krishna, I'm struck with even greater wonder, and I rejoice again and again and again. So he's so mesmerized by it, and he's showing his appreciation. So finally he says, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatro Partha Dhanodhara, Tatra Sri Vijayo Bhutir, Dhruva Natir Matirma. So wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, and wherever there is Arjuna, Yatra Partha Dhanurdhara, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence. Tatra Shri, there is Lakshmi, victory, Vijaya, extraordinary power and morality. That is my opinion. Finally, Krishna, Sanjay is telling conclusively to Dhritarashtra, this is what's going to happen. If you think that your sons are going to win, lose it. It's very clear what is the end result of this war. Only, at least now you can come out and you can stop the war. But will Dhritarashtra do it? No, he didn't do it. So he is telling, wherever there is Krishna or wherever there is Arjuna, there will also be certainly opulence, victory, and extraordinary. Tatra Shri Vijaya Bhuti Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. That is my opinion. So this is, by this, we are concluding this Bhagavad Gita. Thank you for all patient listening to me for so many months. So this is the summary of this chapter. That is, acting with detachment is true renunciation and brings thing. Conclusion of Sankhya and Vedanta. Krishna concludes. So he added a concludedly started from the beginning. We talked about Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, then how to get free from the material modes, entanglement, he explained much more. Then how to do worship the Lord through one's occupational work, is to renunciate. Thing. From Jnana Yoga to pure devotional. Then he also elaborated on the Bhakti Yoga and said, if you work in pure devotional service, you are in the Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. So then finally he said, surrender. If you surrender to me, then keeping up all religions, I will free from all sinful reactions. So worship me, be conscious of me, pay obedience to me. I think the four things we have to do. So the most, only by devotional service we can approach the Lord. Otherwise it cannot. So either we have to choose Krishna or we have to choose Maya. So most confidential knowledge of all is become a pure devotee of Krishna. Preaching and studying we saw the benefits, but just listening to it with faith and repeatedly listening to it, we surely be very auspicious. We'll be free from sinful reactions. It will purify us. Okay. And now Arjuna is firmly fixed and he says, Karishyama Vachana, I'll do whatever you say. And Sanjay's prediction is wherever Krishna is, wherever Arjuna is, there will always be victory. So let's conclude it. Mancha kalpatra abhyasta kripa sindhu evacha pratitam na pamevo vaishnavu namo. Hare Krishna. So let me close this.